Oh my God. I don't know. I was surprised when the Zoom thing did the recording in progress thing again, but I still was. Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, Grace. COVID is really running rampant, and I'm a little nervous about it. I do have to go to school on Wednesday, and it is in person, and I am afraid.
I can imagine why. I
Yeah.
can truly imagine why. Yeah, no, it is definitely running rampant. I did indeed get infected. um I'm mostly recovered, still just got a little bit of backup in me, but I think I my symptoms started like 8 days ago now, so I'm very, very close to the end of quar and hoping to not be in it sometime soon. So pushing through and
Hmm.
hoping to do some more stuff from home for a little while. But yeah, here we are.
Rock and
And
roll, baby.
oh, speaking of British accents, I was trying to like think of
Oh,
another transition because I did
it's a
such a
good
good
one
job
in
with
it.
the the transition that I did for Tall Girl. I was like, ooh, yes, but I hadn't done one since. But there it is. You provided me a good one. You provided me a good one. I totally forgot
Welcome.
this movie was British. Bend It Like Beckham. First and foremost, I feel like I should say this is a Bend It Like Beckham themed episode, and it is in the UK. So there's
Yes,
that. Yeah. So would you like to start off with the little synopsis?
I would. So we watched Bend It Like Beckham, which came out in 2002. Um, it says it's available on Hulu, but we watched it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's correct. So the little thing that they have is Jess Bamra, the daughter of a strict Indian couple in London, is not permitted to play organized soccer even though she is 18. When Jess is playing for one day, her impressive skills are seen by Jules Paxton. I didn't know that was Keira Knightley, who then convinces Jess to play for her semi pro team. Jess uses elaborate excuses to hide her matches from her family while also dealing with romantic feelings for her coach, Joe. It has 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay. 85 is a little high. I don't know if that's just me speaking because it's been 20 years since it came out, but I feel like 85% is a bit high. Especially because I was doing a little bit more research prior to this episode, hopefully to provide more insight for these episodes. And I found out, okay, obviously it is a movie about two girls that play soccer. Does not inherently mean anything has to be gay. However, the movie originally was supposed to be. It was
I believe
originally
that.
supposed to be gay, but and I have this pulled up. It was originally supposed to be gay. But what was it? The hold on. But writer and director Gurinder Chadha decided that it would be too much otherness for one movie. So therefore, he made them straight. He made them straight. They were supposed to be endgame. Jess and Jules were supposed to be together.
I thought the director was a woman.
I don't know.
Did you
I'm
not
just,
see the end credits
I don't know.
when the director fully looked like a lesbian?
I mean, I don't know. I'm going off of allforxi.com, which probably is all for 11 in reference to soccer, but yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, originally they were supposed to be gay. It was supposed
it's
to be gay.
totally a Velma and Daphne situation where it definitely seems like they were meant to be gay, but they
Mm-hmm.
just
Well, and they
um
were.
it
They
was
were.
2002. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2002. As a soccer gay myself, it was especially funny to be watching this because I'll get into it once we get more into the plot. Okay, so the movie starts. As you said, Jess is playing soccer and is seen by Jules, played by Keira Knightley. Um,
How
yeah,
did I? Okay, hang on. I didn't know that was Keira Knightley. I didn't know
how
that.
long did
I
it
had no
take you?
idea.
How long did it take you?
Just now reading the description to realize
Just
that
now?
that was Keira Knightley. Yeah. Well, you see,
No.
I have that thing where I just like can't tell celebrities apart. So in my mind, like Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley are the exact same person. And I also didn't recognize her as blonde or young because I
Yeah,
only know her
she
as
is
old and
very
with dark
young.
hair. Yeah.
She is very, very young in this movie. And I honestly had to like Google it to double check, but I was like, that looks a lot like Keira Knightley. That looks a little too much like Keira Knightley to be a coincidence. So it did take me a second, but it didn't take me until now to realize it is Keira Knightley.
Sorry. Is she gay? Because she shows up. I thought she played a gay pirate in a movie too. Like, is she?
Is she gay in Pirates of the Caribbean?
Maybe it wasn't Pirates of the Caribbean and it was a different gay movie,
Did
but
she
I feel
get
like she played a
typecasted?
lesbian pirate.
Did she get typecasted as a bunch of pirates
I'm
later
looking
on in
this
her
up.
career? I mean, I wouldn't mind. Honestly, seeing her in this movie threw me back to being an absolute baby of a baby gay and having such a fat crush on her when she was in Pirates of the Caribbean, but not realizing it was a crush. I totally had such a crush on her character. And I don't think I ever, I've seen like one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies many years later. It was just like from seeing all of the commercials, I was like, who is that? I definitely was I
Oh,
was a
aye,
young child and I was like, hello.
aye.
Hey.
Yeah, it definitely was
Oh, I
Pirates of
had
the
such a crush
Caribbean,
on
but
her.
I've never seen any of those movies, so I don't know. But a
Yeah.
lot of people have theories that she's a gay pirate in that.
Oh, okay. I mean, again, I think I saw one of the movies once when I was like dog sitting with my sister once. So I could not tell you what that movie's about. All I can tell you is I had my eyes on the prize, and the prize was Miss Keira Knightley, whoever the hell her character was. I have no clue. But yes, so also once I was like doing my notes for this, I reckon literally everybody in this movie, all of their names start with J. It's a little too much. Jess, Jules, and then Joe, the coach. Too much. Too many J's. Too many J's for me.
Hmm.
So yeah, it starts off, she gets recruited, but constantly has to make excuses about, why Jess always has to make excuses as to why she's leaving the house because she knows her family won't be okay with it and all this. And then there's like a bunch of different scenarios there. I felt like there were just a few too many scenarios where it's like, oh, I'm sneaking out. Oh darn, I got caught again. Ooh, I'm sneaking out. Darn, I got caught because like the movie is like almost 2 hours. And there were like maybe 5 different times that she gets caught by her family where they're like, no more soccer. And then she does more soccer and gets caught again.
Yeah, that cycle was something that was really bothering me throughout the movie because I was like, just why, why do we need to keep doing this? Like, just let her
Yeah.
be. Because it was a very frustrating, and I'm sure it would reflect, like the cultural differences that
Mhm.
happen in real life, but at the same time, as far as movies go, it was very
Mhm.
frustrating to watch, and you kind of just wanted to give up after a certain point.
Right. Cause it kept being the same thing of don't go. And then, all right, we're gonna leave the house now, and she's like, Mwahaha, I'm gonna go do some soccer. Like there was one time where she got caught because she bought soccer cleats instead of shoes for her sister's wedding. Her sister's wedding is also a very important theme throughout this. Her sister, whose name is Pinky, um is engaged to be married at the very beginning of the movie. But then later on, one of the times where she gets caught, not even playing soccer, but she's just caught with Jules, people think that Jules is a man, and she thinks uh it's like Pinky's future in-laws think that they see Jess and Jules kissing, but they think that Jules is a man. So they think that the family is dishonorable and like call off the wedding, which is another one of the plot points of just being a bad daughter. So there's like that moment, there's the buying of the cleats, and then one of the times the dad literally goes to one of her soccer games, like fully catches her playing. um And then like multiple times when she's in the park, her mom's just like, no, 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 no. It was just there was too many times of her getting caught. It just felt a little repetitive at a certain point. Oh, and the final time when she literally goes to a tournament in Germany, thinks she's gonna get away with it, but her team was put in the newspaper. Come on.
I mean, come on.
I mean, come on. How are you going to
Come
go all the
on.
way to Germany? I mean, I guess it's not as far from the UK. I don't know. But my point was, you're really going to go all the way to Germany and think that you are going to get away with it and pretend that you're just like at your aunt and uncle's house. I just
Yeah.
thought that was pushing it a little too far.
Did you at any point wonder if soccer or football in the movie was a
Mm.
metaphor for just being gay? Because I don't know about you, but I just watched The Edge of 17, the original one, not the one with Haley Steinfeld.
I didn't know there was
And
one before Haley. I
yeah,
didn't
it's
know.
like it's a coming of age gay movie where this kid is progressively coming out to himself and having all of these like new experiences within the gay world and himself. And so he's constantly sneaking off from his family who's a little homophobic. And um it's like a very similar cycle of Jess going to play soccer and then getting caught, or the parents having, you know, picking up on things that she's doing that lead them to think that she's doing something else. So I just wonder, since it was supposed to be a gay movie, if there
Mhm.
are little hints in there that suggest that soccer is metaphorically like gay acts.
I've got to be honest, I didn't think about it that deeply because as a soccer gay, I was just like LMAO and just like watching them play soccer. And I was like, that's not really a useful drill. LMAO, of course, they're talking about the WUSA. Like, I honestly, so early on in the movie, I was like, okay, it's the early 2000s. They're definitely, when they're referencing professional soccer in the US, they're talking about the WUSA, which tanked after like 3 seasons. So I just found it really funny that they're like, oh, America's got such a good pro league. And I was like, don't bet on it. You're not going to be able to play in it. Like, that's where my brain kind of went. But now that you're putting it like that, I could definitely see it as kind of, especially with if this quote from the director saying it was too much otherness at once, it could very much be like, and I mean, they do talk about lesbians and they do talk about gayness in the movie. So maybe it was kind of a subtle way of like, we're already kind of hinting towards gay is okay without fully having to make the movie also about her disobeying her family in another way. Because maybe it would have been too much, but I mean, it also would have made so much more sense. I thought the coach thing was a little forced. Like, I get that he was nice to Jess and all of that, but like, it also just made me really uncomfortable. I just hate it's a power imbalance relationship. Like, even though Joe seems around the same age as them, I don't like the power imbalance dynamic of anyone ever dating a coach of theirs. That's just beyond gross to me.
Yeah, it seems
So,
super forced and super unprofessional and problematic. And it came on so late in the movie that I
mhm.
just wonder, like where the script had changed from being a gay movie to being not a straight movie, but just being a non-gay movie, and like what the story arc would have looked like if that wasn't part of the original story, and if the original part would have been less forced.
I think it would have been a lot less forced because I think it already still kind of naturally had the lesbian themes through it. Like the mom kind of like putting the pieces together when or thinking she did when Jess like runs out and she thinks that, oh, that's clearly a lover's quarrel, and like figuring out that her daughter's gay. And then like the moment at the wedding when she is like, get your lesbian feet out of my shoes, which also funniest quote of the whole movie, get your lesbian feet out of my shoes, hilarious. and then
I'm
the
going to
aunt
disagree with you.
and then the aunt saying, I thought she was born in March, I thought she was a Pisces.
That was a good one.
That was hilarious. Like the two of those put together, what would you say is the funniest quote of the movie? I was totally, I was absolutely dying over it because it's literally a pre-Vine version of I thought you were American. It was
Yes,
I
yeah.
thought she's a Libra. Or I thought no, no, I thought she
She
was a
was
Libra.
a
I thought she was a
Pisces.
Pisces. Hilarious.
Hmm.
Hilarious. What was yours?
My favorite, I have two favorites actually.
Oh.
The first one was earlier on when they're doing the dress fitting, and
Okay.
she measures around Jess's bust, and she goes, "I'm going to make these mosquito bites look like juicy, juicy mangoes."
Oh my God.
Did you catch that one?
I did. I did. But having like a pre-Vine quote just hit it out of the park for me personally. What was your other one?
My other one was when the mom is having a breakdown next to the dad about Jules being allegedly a lesbian. And she's like, "You saw what they did to George Michael?" And, and the
Yeah.
dad goes, "George Michael is a superstar, and you still listen to Wham."
I know. And you still listen to Wham. I loved the dad's responses to everything, just being like, girl, shut up. Like every time his wife like had some sort of a concern about like their daughter, he's just like,
Whatever.
I couldn't be paid to care. I could not care at all if my daughter is a lesbian. An absolute ally icon, honestly and truly. But I guess I got kind of off track with the with the lesbian fee thing. But like genuinely, I feel like they did still kind of leave some of the original plot. Like I really do think it would have felt less forced because like the mom was clearly picking up on the gayness that was emulating from this friendship. Like, not to say, like,
Hmm.
obviously, like, just because two girls play soccer and like are good friends doesn't mean that they're inherently gay. But like the level of the betrayal that like Jess felt and like the way she wasn't like it very much felt like something more than friendship kind of a thing. So I feel like they almost kind of like left some of the plot like as it was, but then just kind of like copy and pay, like they just like removed some portions and then were like, now say Joe instead of Jules. Like I feel like they just threw Joe in moments where more naturally originally the two would have like come together, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that their like little fight would have been kind of like a happiest season situation where she's just like, "I'm tired of you hiding from my family, hiding me
I
from
mean,
your family."
maybe. I guess I can again, like as much as I feel like it would have felt more natural, I do see the point of like having it be she has to make her parents okay with her playing soccer and coming out at the same time. That would have been a lot to put into one movie. Um, so I guess maybe, but at the same time, not really because Jules herself, I don't think would have started the movie as out. I think it still would have been the parents on both sides finding out about their daughters. So in that sense, there's no like, oh, one of them's already out and just waiting for the other one kind of a deal. It's God. While we're on the train of gayness, um, but just the difference from Jess's room being covered in David Beckham, and then the first time they go into Jules's room and it's just plastered with the U.S. women's national team, mostly Mia Hamm, but there were some others sprinkled throughout there. I was like, that looks familiar. That looks like my room
Your
growing
room.
up. I don't know how to
Absolutely.
tell you this, Jules.
Yeah.
But
I had seen one of your childhood bedrooms. I mean, I think I had seen both of them, but the one that still had posters on it, I
yeah,
was
you saw
like,
my dad's
this.
room, the one at my dad's house with Alex Morgan and the like.
Yeah, and it was like a little bit before you really knew. And I was just kind of
Yeah,
sitting in your room like, Grace,
that is the
there are
funniest.
women
That's like
all over your
honestly,
wall.
that's one of the funniest parts of our friendship for me is like you really saw me like right as I was coming out and like right as I was fully figuring it out. So you really had to sit through me all of this gayness figuring. That's so funny to me that you knew me at a time where I was like, I like men. I like them. I do. Oh God, what a ooh, yeah.
No,
Mm-mm.
I loved the David Beckham poster. There was one point where it made me a little bit nervous when she was like laying on her bed under it, and it was just like a head and shoulder moment. I
Yeah.
fully thought she was whacking it to David Beckham, and I was like, this
Oh
is not
no,
where I thought this
absolutely
movie was
not.
going.
Oh God, that would have been
But she was just talking
horrible.
to him as if he was Jesus,
Yeah, very much talking to her poster
just
like he's
talking to him.
Jesus. Oh God. I wish you had seen my room at my mom's house prior to me updating it. Because you saw it after I had like taken down all my soccer stuff. That was the soccer room. Like you saw the one at my dad's house that had like a few big posters. I had like some signed stuff from them, which I think is still pretty cool. Like I have like one of my signed soccer balls in my room or whatever. But no, my room at my mom's house was Jules's room, but like times 10. Um, yeah, just the classic. That's a lot of the US women's national team to be on your walls, especially with you being from the UK. Anyways, uh, another note on the gay everything, the gay agenda for this movie.
Hit me.
Tony being gay was such a great moment for me.
That was a
I
great
was like,
moment.
I knew I liked this man. For context, Tony is a friend of Jess's who, like, throughout the movie is literally like the only man I was rooting for ever. And frequently Jess's family is like, oh, we'll just be with Tony, be with Tony. You guys are such good friends. But eventually they're like having a conversation, and Jess is like, oh, I just really love David Beckham. And Tony was like, me too,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It really reminded me of that scene in Dickinson when Emily and what was her friend's name? Her like one friend that saw the eclipse with her.
Oh, the guy that died.
Yeah, the guy that sorry, spoilers.
Oh,
Uh
sorry. The
but yeah,
like
the guy that
one
died.
man that she like liked.
Yeah, they kind of had a little moment which to me made me think that they were like having a little like gay brain moment where they were both like we're both weird in a homosexual way.
Oh, when was
And
that?
they were like sitting on a bench together, and it like wasn't, it was the 1800s, so they didn't
Yeah.
like say it explicitly, but they were both like, we'll just be each other's beards from now on. It
Yeah,
was
it
that kind of
yeah.
moment.
Yeah. No, their
I felt like
relationship
this
was
was a
very
similar thing.
yeah, yeah, it was where it's just kind of like without saying it, you kind of said it to each other. Um, so yeah, I mean, I appreciate again, of course, I'm gonna like throw a fit about the fact that this movie didn't end up being gay, but I think they still did a good job of having gay representation in it. For the year that it was, they did a fairly good job, I feel like they could have made it a lot worse. And any kind of moment where like the mom of Jules was like super uncomfortable, you had the dad there with the like reason of being like, girl, calm down, you still love gay people. If your daughter is gay, that's also fine, you'll be fine. So I appreciated that they kind of like, despite the fact that they cut the gayness out, they still had some there, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I feel like for early 2000s it's pretty decent. Pretty
I would
decent.
agree.
Um yeah, no, I guess we kind of went through most of the plot line. I guess the only other thing is eventually Pinky's would have been in-laws eventually are okay with them getting married, so the wedding is back on. And the wedding that they reschedule now is going to be on the day of the final of a tournament of Jules and Jess's team. And on that day, Joe had scheduled for an American pro or a recruiter for the University of California, Santa Clara to be there. So of course there's this, internal debate of like, does Jess go or not? But she knows she can't go and doesn't plan on going. But partway through the wedding, her dad tells her to go because apparently when he was younger, he had been really into cricket. But once he immigrated to the UK, People were really racist towards him and kind of excluded him from the cricket community, and he just let it happen, but he didn't want the same thing to happen to his daughter. So he lets her go. She scores the winning goal because she bends the ball like Beckham around the wall and scores a last second free kick. And they Jess and Jules both get recruited, yada yada, and that's kind of how it ends, is them going to California. um that's kind of the rest of just like the very overarching view of what happens in the movie. um what kind of things stood out for you? Like what were some of your train of thought notes that you made of things that like stood out to you?
I loved the sporadic placement of the Indian version of Celine Dion's "I'm Your Lady."
Oh my god, I thought I was going crazy. I was not sure if I was hearing that right. Okay, I feel so validated now knowing that that was the first thing that you have to say. But continue. What else did you have to say?
I said I would love to watch this movie again and take a shot every time someone says "in it," like that's
Yeah.
right in it.
Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
that's
Absolute
proper
left, right,
spelling
and
in it.
center. Constantly. Just absolute constantly.
It was constant, wasn't
Oh my god, it was so incredibly constant. Oh,
it? Yeah. And then I like when Jess said, "Kissing me, a boy."
I know. I was like, that's another moment where I was like, gay. God, it's
Yeah,
so
so
gay.
they kept that in from the original script.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
and then just the part when Joe was basically like talking to Jess, and they were talking about Jess's family situation and how she just she can't just cut them off the way that Joe has cut his family off, because he thinks that his dad is disappointed in him. And there was a moment when Joe was basically like, "I understand your situation. I'm Irish, so I'm also very discriminated against." And I just want to say, like, I have very much heard people say the same thing. Like, I've heard a man justify saying the N word because he's Irish, and he was Irish American and like definitely had no more ties to Ireland. And I just want to say that, like, if you're Irish, you're probably still white and probably do not understand any struggle that any person of color has.
Right. No, I thought it was absolutely comical. I do understand that like in the UK there are like more tensions between like Irish people and British people, especially like a little while back or whatever, but it still felt very jarring to see this white man be like, I understand racism. I'm Irish. Like especially like now like 20 years later, and I don't really know what the current dynamic is between people from Ireland and England or whatever. Again, I very minimally, literally just from watching Dairy Girls, I know that there like was some tension. But
I love
also
Dairy Girls.
Dairy Girls, absolute like plug for that show. Love it so much. So like I know that there was some tension between those two countries, but it really did feel very jarring to see this white man say to this woman of Indian heritage to be like, I understand racism. It's like, no, you don't, sir. No, and like at least not in this, not like don't even like compare like any instances you've had to what she's going through. Like it's not the same. It's not the
Mhm.
same. You can sympathize with someone without being like, I've been through it. Like you can just feel empathy. You don't have to have felt the same thing before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It very much felt like he was turning it and making it about him, which was a little like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
As someone with a very Irish last name, I can really tell you I have never been discriminated against because I'm Irish, at
Yeah,
least
you
in
got
the
the
United
you got the
States.
whole Mick in the beginning of your
I
name.
really do.
You
Make
got the
and then the
Mick.
capital letter after it.
Yeah, you do. You've really, you and my girlfriend both with the Irish last names,
Hmm.
just the most Irish last names around. Meanwhile, mine's like a weird combination of a few things, but whatever. Um, let me see what's something that stood out from so many of my notes are going to be so pointless because so many of my notes are just me like totally nitpicking at their like
At
the way that
soccer.
they had soccer. I
Uh-huh.
know. I was like, oh my God, I remember those Adidas cleats when they came out. Those Adidas Predators were it, girl. Love the old school tongue on the cleats. Like such useless notes.
I totally had those too. I had Adidas soccer cleats back when I played soccer. Um,
Iconic.
I was really good. My dad called me Cinderella because I would run away from the ball.
That's hilarious. That's good. That's good. My sister used to, my sister and I both played soccer for like all of our childhoods, like up through high school. But we always like to give her crap because, like, when she was a little baby, when, first starting to play soccer, she would just cry every single time someone took the ball from her. So,
Oh,
yeah, she wasn't running away from the ball. She was just very heartbroken when it went away. So, I guess it was kind of the opposite problem. Oh God. Oh God. Soccer. What a big portion of my life that was. Yeah,
and then
like
you
one of
coached my
my
sister.
I did coach your sister. And that was another one of those, like, we barely were friends. And like I had already signed up to be a coach prior to us like becoming friends. But then like we had been friends for like maybe like 2 weeks. And we were sort of in the same graphic design class. You were in level 1 and I was in level 2, but we were in the room at the same time. And I was just like, hey, your sister's on my team. I just like got the like list of it and I was like, huh, that's a Mick. That's a Mick on my team. That's quite the Irish name on my team.
Irish.
Oh, yeah, and she absolutely no, she didn't bully me, but she was
She
very
absolutely
persuasive
did.
with she was very good at avoiding her goalie responsibilities with
Oh,
me, and I let it happen, and I shouldn't have, but it
I mean, she was
happens.
like 8 at the time.
She was 11.
Oh, she was 11.
Mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
that child is still
I
10 years
was
old in my head. She's
oh
16.
God. Oh my God. And just oh my God. That summer was very, very interesting for many reasons, but I coached your sister's team and I coached 7-year-olds, and the games were always back to back, and just the absolute whiplash I would get from like coaching kindergartners to coaching fifth graders like back to back was just so weird. Like there was this one time there were I absolutely loved the girls that I coached. They all were very special and unique in their own way. But there were two girls on the younger team that were troublemakers, especially when they were together. Like there was a dynamic and it would magnetize as soon as they were put on the same team. Because with them being younger, we typically like broke it into two teams once they were playing, because they were playing like 4v4 or something. Um, one of the girls, the one that was like especially prone to having an attitude during one of the games, and again, the games were right next to each other. Um, she just was done. She decided she had quit, and she just marched across the other field that was also playing at the same time, sat in her mom's empty chair because her mom was like in the bathroom or something, crossed her legs and looked at me from across the field and just said, mm-mm, mm-mm. And I was like, I don't even remember what her name was at this point, but
Oh
like,
my
let's say her name was
God.
Susie. I was like, Susie, you cannot, you've got to play. And she just was like, mm-mm. And she just didn't play. It was
Yeah.
a lot. It was that was just
Wolf.
like the funniest, other than your sister bullying me. That is like the main story that like sticks out to me when I think of my time as a coach, was just that little girl just marching and being like, nope, I'm
Nope.
done. I don't care. Oh God, what other of my notes are even useful? So I also made a note about how incredibly dumb. There's like one of the little like movie montage moments where they showed them like training a bunch. One of the times that they showed them training was just them all running in a line and then like jumping to do like headers, but there were no balls. They were just swinging their heads at the air, and that bothered me,
See,
especially
I
because
didn't
it's
catch that. I know nothing about soccer. I just want to let everybody know. I know absolutely nothing. I was
yeah.
completely a little confused during this whole movie, and to find out that they weren't even doing proper training is just news to me.
It is horrific. It's horrific. It's also funny. One of the things that they like keep cutting to throughout the movie is the coach teaching her how to bend the ball during a free kick, hence bend it like Beckham. He like keeps trying to teach her how to curve the ball around defenders, basically. And it was funny to me because when I was a freshman in high school and I was still playing club soccer, um, I was on a new team that year, and my coach was like, "Oh, you've got a good free kick. I could kick the ball really far, basically." But I couldn't bend the ball yet. So he basically used to do the same thing with me. He would constantly like pull me to the side to like teach me how to do it. But I could not learn how to do it. I couldn't figure it out. It was too hard for me. So basically, my coach just gave up on me. Um,
Gotcha.
and I just thought it was really funny to like watch her basically doing the same thing with her coach, but she like picks it up in like 2 seconds. And I was like, couldn't be me. I played soccer for 15 years total, could never do it.
Oh my
Couldn't do it.
gosh.
I admit my faults. I admit my faults. I was not good enough to do what she did. Um, Also, so many of my notes beyond that are just like, that was gay. That was gay. That was gay.
Yeah.
Constantly. I'm like, them laughing together, that's gay. Oh, the scene where they think that they're kissing, like when the people see them and think they're kissing, I was like, that's gay.
Yeah, I would
That is
never ever do that with
gay.
my friend. I would never, like you and I would never be in that position.
No, 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 no. Like, and we share many a laugh with one another, but there's a difference. There's a
There is a
difference in the
difference.
way that you laugh, like when you're flirting versus when you're just like chilling with the homie. And let me tell you, that was not a chilling with the homie kind of laugh. That is a
It
laugh
was
you and
not.
I will never share. And I was like, that is too gay. That is too gay. um, yeah. So it's funny that they end up thinking that, like, oh, you were kissing a boy. Because they even were like, there's love in that. There's some love. There's too much going on,
What is it
which
about
I thought
soccer
was
that is
hilarious.
so gay? Like, why? Why is it so gay? I don't
I don't
understand.
know, but like it just is. Honestly, it's hard for me to say because honestly, the teams that I played on, no one was ever like out while I was growing up. Like now I know that there were a few other people on a few of my teams that are also like now out and proud or whatever, but for me, I didn't fully register how gay of a sport soccer was at the time because again, nobody around me on my teams was out. And even when it came to like the professional players that I looked up to, while a decent amount of them were gay, when I was really young, not many of them were like talking about it. Like my absolute favorite player when I was growing up was Abby Wambach, but it wasn't until like more recently, I mean, not like super recently, a few years ago when um I guess even a little longer ago. I'm just thinking about she didn't really talk about being gay that much. It was more people kind of knew about it but didn't really talk about it. Like she had a wife for a while and now she has her second wife and they're great. But for me it was more like once Megan Rapinoe like came out, which embarrassingly for me was a surprise when she came out. Like I was
Grace, she
so
looks like me but blonde.
I know we've had this conversation, but like I was so deeply closeted that like I couldn't even recognize that gay things were happening around me.
Oh
So
my
I don't know what
god.
makes soccer so gay, but I think at this point, so many of the professional players are so out and proud that now it makes sense. But as a kid, I just completely over my head.
Yeah.
But I
I
mean,
was
I
just
also played
curious.
lacrosse, so
I was just so taken aback. A few months ago, Grace invited me to a professional soccer game, and we have in our sister city, St. Paul, we have the Allianz Field where the men's soccer team plays. And so
Mhm.
I thought I was getting invited to a men's soccer game to go and watch with Grace. And I showed up and I was like, there is so much traffic in this area. I just don't understand what's going on? I didn't know that these soccer games were like so popular and a bunch of people showed up to them. I had to park in like 3 parking lots away because everything was full. I was like, there are a lot of Subarus here. Like there's really
One
something
of them
going
being
on.
mine.
I I got to the line to like show them my ticket. And I was like, there are a lot of lesbians here. Like it
Hmm.
was just like a sea of fanny packs and Carhartt hats. And I was like, I know that soccer is like a little gay, but I didn't know that this many lesbians would show up for the men. And then I got
Well,
inside of the
yeah,
stadium and I was
yeah,
like, oh, oh, so this is the women's US national team that is
yeah,
playing
yeah.
right now. This is where we are. And I got lost in a sea of very diverse lesbians on my
Oh my
way to
God, yeah.
find you. And then we sat down and we were pretty close to the field. And it was at that moment that I had realized, wow, this I'm at a women's soccer game. This is so fun.
Yeah,
And we were just
yeah.
surrounded by old lesbians and it was hilarious.
Oh,
And then out of
yeah.
nowhere pops Megan Rapinoe. And I was like, this
Hmm.
is the craziest day of my life.
It's the greatest. It is so great to be in those kinds of environments. The men's team here is also pretty popular, but I mean, it's still, and there are, I would say, as a person who goes to a lot of those games, there's still quite a few lesbians at those games as well, just because we don't currently in Minnesota, we do have a semi-pro team coming for women very soon, but there's still gonna, you still would have seen a few gay women around. But yeah, no, like literally right in front of us there was a gay couple that had like they were talking about one of the girls in the couple was wearing a Kristen Press jersey, who is one of the favorites for the gays. Yeah, you may not understand, but those
I have
listening
no
will.
idea.
Kristen Press, she was wearing one of Kristen Press's Man United jerseys, and she was talking about how she just bought the jersey, but then um, oh my god.
Sorry, your video froze. Okay, there we go.
Oh my goodness. My microphone unplugged yet again. This is about to be such a spotty episode, and I
It's
apologize so
okay.
deeply to everybody.
It's all right.
But she was like bragging about how she was able to get her Cricut to like print out the numbers for the jersey so she could like save money on it. And I was like, you are dedicated to the gay craft. And I honestly like wanted to be like, Loki, what's your number? I would love for you to personalize a few more of my jerseys.
Oh
Like,
my
I'm trying to
God.
get a Kristen
Crickets
Press jersey, but save some good coin. Like, excuse me.
crickets really are for the gays.
They are. They are. And I mean, she was using it in the gayest way possible, and it was amazing.
It's
um
incredible.
yeah, no, women's games, while the men's games do still have a gay representation there, it is the women's games where we really unite as one and come and support. Oh god, but you really, this is about to be, just a little warning for those listening who are soccer gays. Taya here, my co-host, did not find Tobin Heath attractive.
Yeah, sorry about that. Maybe it was just the photo that they had on the big screen of her. Is she the blonde one?
She's not blonde. She's got brown hair. No, she's not even blonde.
I'm
You
sorry.
were
Let
you were
me look
excited
at the
about Megan
picture now.
Rapinoe. You were excited about Megan Rapinoe, but like
I just, I feel like Megan and I may be on the same page.
regarding what?
Just gayness.
She's forever. I think her and Sue Bird are actually engaged. I totally forgot that they were engaged. I was gonna be
Yeah,
like, oh, they're married, or they're dating,
she's
but
hot
yeah, no,
too.
she's got Sue Bird, so she's doing all right. Oh, the way that I wanted a Sue Bird jersey so bad for Christmas. I
Come
just
on,
want all of
money.
the gay jerseys. I got a another thing for the gay soccer girls listening to this, I gotta say I'm Kerr Jersey instead though, so I'm still doing okay. She's a gay Aussie and she's dating Christy Mewis from the women's national team. Do you remember
Oh,
Christy?
no, I do not.
Look up Christy. I want to see if you'd have a crush on Christy Mewis. I'm
I don't know how to
interested.
spell any of their names.
Okay, Kristie Mewis.
I found a list of them. Oh my God. Anyway, I can look at this later. It's just a
Fair
lot
enough.
of
Fair enough. Fair enough.
wedding photos
Oh, whose
from
wedding?
Instagram. They all seem to be very married.
I
Good
mean,
for
I
them.
guess you're probably looking at Ali Krieger and Ashlyn Harris. They're married.
No, it's like a long list.
Oh. Hmm. Anyways,
There's a lot of striped shirts in here. Lots of vertical stripes, I gotta say.
oh god. From their jerseys, the like red and white ones.
No, just like regular clothing.
Oh, there's just yeah, they
Lots of
just all
chains and
dress
lots
very
of
gay.
vertical stripes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of chains. See, I could never do a chain. I feel like because the thing is like I still dress pretty sporty. Like I've got a hockey jersey on right now and stuff, but I just feel like I'd feel so I couldn't do it. I would feel like such a poser. Like I feel like it would make me look too much like a hey mamas, and I do not have that energy. Like I
You
like
don't,
some
but
of the
you're almost there.
I know I'm like towing the line of looking like a hey mamas, but like I do not have that confidence. I've been dating the same person forever. Like I don't have any of the like player.
You
I
don't have to
can't.
justify yourself. I
I
know that you're
can't.
not a hey mama.
I know. It's for the folks at home who currently all of our listeners are like still basically our closest friends. But no, I'm very much on the brink of turning into a hey mamas, but I am not one, and I could never. I do not have the confidence. But I was just regarding the chains because I remember a while ago you told me you were like I could see you having a chain. You told me that, and I was like, mm
I
because I
told you
kept
that?
getting ads for them because I kept getting
When
ads
was
for them on
that?
Instagram. It was like a year or so ago. It was a while
Oh,
ago, but I
okay.
just remember I kept getting targeted ads on Instagram and I was like, what the hell is this? And you were like, well, I
That's really funny
mean,
because
maybe
I
you
have a chain.
should. But the thing is, like, you're enough of like an artsy gay that it doesn't read as hey mamas when you wear it. But like
Oh, thank
if I wear it with like this
you.
girl, I look
For
like
those
I'm
of
on a
you,
fucking like
for those of you only listening, Grace is wearing like a camp brimmed hat with a hockey jersey and a hoodie underneath and wired
yeah.
circle glasses.
It's who I am. Well, I feel like the glasses take away a little bit of the hey mama's edge.
I
I feel
feel
like it
like the
takes a
Hey
little
Mamas
bit.
are really catching on to the wire glasses, but so is everyone. Even I've been thinking about them.
Man,
I know.
I thought this was my safety net. I thought this made it seem like I was less douchey.
I don't think you look douchey. You just
Good.
look
I hope
so
not.
gay.
I know. I know. It's so funny. Yeah, because again, like in high school, I really didn't know how to dress. I was voted as worst dressed before
You
they decided to cut it
literally
out of.
dressed the exact same, just like a little bit more sweatpants.
Yeah, I literally just I yeah. You know, it was homophobic as hell that y'all voted for me. I'm gonna say it now. To
I
all of
didn't. We
you
were
that
in different
voted for
grades.
me, well, yeah, not you, but for all of y'all that voted for me as worst dressed from my grade at my high school, how dare you? How dare you? And everyone, when I was like shocked that people were telling me they were voting for me, they were like, well, what did you expect? And I was like, a little respect. That's what. I'm sorry that I'm trying to figure out my identity in front
To
of
put
you.
it to put it into perspective, Grace didn't really have the most fashionable grade either. There was another girl who wore like four different shades of green camo in one outfit.
Listen, I don't even want to toss nothing at nobody, But what I will
Bedazzled
say is
fedoras.
I was undeserving of being voted by as many people as I was. Because
I
again, like they
agree.
never fully announced it. They never put it in the yearbook because they eventually realized, hey, that was kind of a mean superlative. Um, I just know enough people did that I very likely was the winner. And how dare y'all? You are very anti-lesbian. That was
Hmm.
rude of you.
Very
That was
anti-gay
very, very rude of our high
from
school.
the gayest class that our high school has ever had.
You know, yeah, my grade was pretty gay, especially in retrospect. Literally, like so many of my, especially like my immediate friends, once we all graduated, were like, "Are you? Are you? Are you? Yep, 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 yep. Cool." Like
Hmm.
afterwards, we just all kind of realized we all were. I'm trying to see. Okay, back to the movie, which we have diverted away from for quite a while. Um, one of the last things that I was kind of frustrated with, overall, again, like I don't think it's a bad movie, but one of the things that kind of frustrated me, we already hinted at like the pacing being a little frustrating because of like the number of times that she gets caught. You know, it's kind of like, okay, you've done this a few times. Can you be done? Um, the other thing for me that I think was on the opposite side of the way that that was drawn out, what I think was a little too rushed was at the end, the dad shows support for her playing soccer for like 2 seconds, and then suddenly the mom's like, okay. Like, he literally just like, in one sentence, is just like, I don't want her to give up on her dreams the way I did. And then the mom's like, all right, I'll just throw away all of my hatred that I've had for soccer for years and everything I've ever said about you going to school. Now you can go and now you can play soccer and you can do what you want. Like, it was a bit too much of an easy flip for me. And I feel like if they had just used like a little bit less time showing Jess sneaking out and a little bit more time of like the parents coming to be okay with soccer, I feel like that's just like a little nitpicky thing that I think would have made the pacing feel a little bit better post cutting the gay out of the movie. I think they just kind of ended up rushing that last part a little bit too much, but that was my other kind of like critical note of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
I don't really have much else to say about that. I agree that I didn't really, in a movie you kind of want to understand where the parents are coming from. And we
Mm-hmm.
kind of got that with Jules' parents, where they were just really worried about Jules being ridiculed if they found out that she was gay. But we don't really quite understand the parents' reasoning behind why they don't want Jess to be playing soccer or, you know, do other things. We didn't
Yeah.
really understand their, emotion behind that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say we do to a degree. Like, I mean, they very much talk about, like within their culture, it's not typical for the women to be doing this kind of a thing. And the dad has his whole like, I experienced heartbreak when my dreams didn't come true. I don't want it to happen to you. But like, there definitely was a lot of times where like they could have infused it a little bit more and like given more reasoning. Cause there were definitely a lot of times where the parents were just like, no, because no, you know? And definitely in moments like that, I think they could have like infused a little bit more of like, well, this happened to me when I did something unladylike, or, that kind of a thing could have definitely been woven in a little bit more. But for me, I thought it was just really abrupt how, like, at the end of the movie, Tony literally was willing to get engaged to Jess and like announces to the family that they're engaged so that he can say, like, before she gets married to me, she has to go to college. And the family immediately was like, oh yeah, she can go to college now. I don't care where she goes. But then Jess decides she doesn't want to lie and all of that. And then 2 seconds later, the family's like, okay, I guess you can go without being engaged because the dad gave an ounce of support for you. All of a sudden, everything's fine. Like, I just thought it was a little too like neatly tied up. It's like that's all it took. This whole movie was the dad just barely being okay with it. But I mean, that could also be another like cultural difference of, the him being the man of the house kind of a thing. Um, Especially for me as a person that grew up where like my mom was very much not one to be walked all over like by my dad, or like it was much more balanced out kind of a thing. So for me it's like, well, why is it just that like the dad showing this much support like changes everything? But maybe it is fairly accurate, I don't know, but it just felt like a weird pace for the movie.
Yeah, for
um
sure.
yeah. And then the finale of them at the airport, I hated seeing Jess and Joe kiss. Um, I also thought it was just absolutely hilarious. It was like the one memory I had. Like I had seen Bend It Like Beckham once before, but it was when I was a child. But the only thing I ever remembered was the scene of David Beckham and what's his wife's name again? Victoria
Victoria.
Beckham. Yeah, the two of them walking through the airport. That was like the only memory I had of it. But there she God, Jess had literally like grown up idolizing this man, sees him at the airport, and it's just like, okay. Like she didn't even care the way that I would have had a meltdown if I had seen like
If I had seen Posh Spice, yeah, life would be over.
but like if I had seen like Abby Wambach or something at the airport, I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind. I wouldn't be like, oh, time to go kiss my coach. Oh my God.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so gross. Hated it. Also, Joe Smolder was another thing that I made a note of. Too dramatic. The absolute drama. Oh, wow.
Always smoldering.
For those of you that
Just
are
always.
listening and not watching, you are missing out on Taya's amazing Joe impression right now. You need to go check out our YouTube video version of this. But yeah, I mean, those are kind of, I feel like those are all my thoughts, unless you have any other specific ones. So many of my notes are so stupid. I'm like, who the hell would play soccer with their hair down if it's that long? Um, Also, there was a classic offsides joke at one point during the movie, which all soccer girlies are probably, I don't know, I'm tired of it. But it's a classic. Tony's gay. No wonder I loved him. Yeah. I feel like I've gone through my notes at this point. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean, I'd give it like a solid 6.5 out of 10.
Six and a half
I'm
what?
a 6.5 aloo gobis out of 10.
Okay. I was gonna do it out
Six
of
and a half
lesbian
juicy,
feet out
juicy
of 10.
mangoes.
6.5 juicy mangoes.
6.5
Um,
bra pumps.
yeah. I would say maybe like I like want to give it a 7 out of 10. Seven lesbian feet out of 10. But a part of me doesn't want to give it a full 7. I want to give it like a 6.8 because there were just like little bits of it that were kind of frustrating, and I think the pacing was kind of annoying. And of course, I wish there was more gay.
Yeah, if it was
Um,
actually gay, I would fully give it a 7 for
right,
sure. It'd be
right.
such a
But
classic.
again, I think they did a pretty good job without it being gay of having some gay representation and some gay conversation in the movie, especially for it being 2002. They did a very good job in comparison to a lot of stuff. So yeah, I'd give it like a 6.8. I don't really want to watch it again, at least not anytime soon, but I would rewatch it someday maybe, but it would have to be a few years for me, I guess. That's my
Yeah, I agree.
view. Yeah.
I'm just curious, um, because I mentioned that if it was gay, it would be a classic, and which made me think of, classic, but I'm a cheerleader. And
Oh
I just
yeah.
looked it up, and that movie came out in '99, which happens to be the year I was born.
Oh.
And so I just wonder, like, if it would have gotten that much backlash in 2002 for being a gay movie. If But I'm
Well,
a Cheerleader is older than it.
I mean, oh my God, my throat just like
Whoa.
completely just quit on me. My voice is mostly back. This is a lot better than it's been recently, but wow. Um anyways, I think it's hard to say because since you were barely born, and I was born only a year before you in 98. So it's hard to I don't know what the backlash was fully like for But I'm a Cheerleader. I can imagine that there probably was a decent amount of pushback. And there probably it's very much a classic to us in the gay community, but for those that aren't, it probably isn't, and they're probably not really aware of it. So it's hard to say how it would have been taken. Because again, we were just so barely alive at the time, that I don't really know what the full feeling would have been. But I mean, I know that even for us, watching Glee when it originally was coming out, I remember like the first season coming out when I was like 11. So that would have been maybe like 2009. Even then, I mean, there was a lot of pushback against Kurt and Blaine and all of that. Like that was making headlines. So I can imagine that like 5 years, 7 years, or whatever it would have been before Glee, I can imagine it still would have been pretty hostile. And I feel as though, even though I don't know how But I'm a Cheerleader was recepted, it probably wasn't great at the time. Probably wasn't great.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's good to compare things to Glee, I think,
Yeah,
maybe
Glee's a
in
good
terms of,
hallmark.
yeah, I mean, that was like a full-on Fox
Yeah,
show. And
right,
even before Blaine and Kurt were a thing, like before they introduced Blaine, a lot of people had issues with Kurt, and a lot of people
right.
just had issues with like showing a Glee club in general and
Hmm.
for, criticizing sports, high school sports culture. So yeah, I mean, I was 3 when Bend It Like Beckham came out, so I don't really know for sure how it would have been received. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point
Yeah,
that Glee was very uh for the times, it was very scandalous.
yeah. No, I feel as though, yeah, it was that's it's also just a easy benchmark for me because, us being like 11, 12-ish, I have a lot more of a memory from that time. So I'm like, okay, if Glee was being received as bad because it was gay, how would it have been a few years? So I feel as though the movie, because the movie had some success, Bend It Like Beckham. It was like, I think I read that it was, yeah, it made back 10 times its, so it was made with $6 million and it made 10 times that. So it made about 60 million in the box office. I can imagine that it would have been much less had it been so openly gay. Because I mean, they still, again, like they talk about it, they hint at it, they say gay is okay, but they don't make it all about coming out. And I think if they had, it would have been much more of a cult classic for the gay community, but not as much of a broad success in the box office. Is just my guess.
That's fair. I would love to see
Yeah.
them remake it though.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. Oh, Keira Knightley.
I
She
would love
really
to be
had my
Jules in the
heart.
reboot.
I bet you would. I bet you would love to. My microphone has fully given up on us. This is about the 20th time it has unplugged itself somehow.
Yeah,
And I mean, we've made it through our notes, we've given our rating, and I feel like we're at a point where I'm mad at my microphone.
sounds good, my dude. What's the next movie we're watching?
Oh, didn't we have one? Didn't we have one? You had something. You saw it was the Miley Cyrus movie. Get a clue? Is that what
Oh
it's called?
boy, I gotta go find it now.
It was on
We
it was
have,
on YouTube.
yes, it was free on YouTube.
Yeah.
So those at home, we will be watching So Undercover. Was that it?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think so.
Or was it Monte Carlo with Selena Gomez?
No, it was the Miley Cyrus one. So it was definitely So Undercover.
So Undercover.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up next. I mean, at this point, I don't really know that you can fully define what type of movies we watch, but we be watching them and we'll let you know how it goes.
It's
we
the off season.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
the off
Christmas movie
season.
time.
Yeah, it's not Christmas. Oh God, I'm honestly not looking forward to having to watch all those Christmas movies again, but I'll do it. I'll do it for you all. But yeah, So Undercover is up next, and you don't even need a streaming service. It's free with ads on YouTube, so you have absolutely no excuse in it. You
No
have no
excuse,
excuse.
bruv.
Absolutely none. Well, it's been a good time. I hope you had a good time.
I did. I enjoyed that one. It was good. It was a nice break.
It was a good break to have a movie that was there was thought put into it. Was nice. It was nice, but
Yeah.
we're gonna go back into the deep end up next and watch So
Oh boy.
Undercover. So
Sounds good.
hopefully you make it through.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye.